Okay, welcome back everyone to the Mile Extra. Today we have a different guest from who we've had on the last few episodes, someone who's a athlete. She's about to represent New Zealand, and I used to work with her, so I'm super happy to have Shenae on here today. And yeah, let's get into it. I know you do a lot of things, as well as be a mother. You're a pretty busy woman, but I guess before we go into the past, who are you today and what's your day-to-day for everyone out there who does not know who you are?
My goodness. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on here. And I just want to clarify that I used to work for you. We didn't work together. You were my boss, remember?
Yeah, I know. It was never really top down with me as well. But yeah.
No, it was sure, wasn't it? It was a quick transfer before the gym transferred on us. Anyway, who am I today? So I guess I have a hobby which has taken over most of my life, and that is triathlon. I do that at an age group. Well, I want to be careful about what I say here because I don't want people to listen to this and think that I'm better than I am, but I'm technically an elite age grouper, nowhere near professional level, which is mainly because I work full time. I've got a corporate job. I look after a 6-year-old, and I have just started the local athletics club up here. What else do I do? Doing a lot. So basically, yeah, my days are really long and really full.
So I guess a normal day for you, do you want to sort of break that down, how that looks? Because it's still a bloody lot of training, even though you're not a full-time professional athlete, and it must be hard to fit it in with being a mum, trying to do everything else. How does a day look in your life?
So a day, it's probably easier to break it down over a week, I suppose. I'm usually training between 15 and maximum 20 hours a week. When I get the session, it depends on what it is. It depends how long it is too. I go to swim squad once or twice a week. I'm usually doing 3 or 4 runs a week, probably 3 bike rides a week. I don't know how many sessions that is in total, but there's a lot. And then yeah, go to work during the day. I usually kind of honestly, it's like cut in and out. I'll get up early, do a train, then I'll log into work for a few hours, take my son to school, and then log back into work, and then pick up my son, and then go home and either do another train or take him to a sport, or it's a lot of hours. And then there's night times where I'm stretching or trying to fix my bike, or I'm doing meetings with the athletics club and trying to get sponsorship for the athletics club, or trying to get sponsorship for myself, and it's wild.
So I guess what is the ultimate goal you're trying to pull off this year? What are you trying to do?
Do you know what? I was thinking about this and I thought you might ask. Honestly, I don't really know what my goal with triathlon is. I just really enjoy it. And I mean, I'm going to World Champs. I'm going to Ironman 73 World Champs in France in September. And with that, I don't have a placing goal. I just want to pull off one of the best races I've had yet. Yeah, that would be the triathlon goal. The athletics club goal up here would just to get that off the ground, get it sponsored. We've gone from a non-affiliated club to a club now that has a committee, and yeah, just get that pumping, I guess. Get some more opportunity for our kids up here because it's very quiet. We're really limited in opportunities for everyone, really, like myself. We don't have a lot of things up here. We've got one pool that's open half the year, and we've got another pool that's open the other half of the year. Eventually I'd like to start a tri club up here as well.
That's cool. Go annoy some real estate agents. They always have money. You must have a real estate firm up there, Ray White, someone who's up there. They can, go annoy them. They've always got money, don't worry. Trust me.
So you say. That's just the perception you're giving off.
The bosses, the big companies do. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be someone who'll want to sponsor you. So I guess, how are your times tracking compared to the people you're going to compete against in France?
Yeah. My swim is definitely going to be off the pace. I'm allowing to be coming out of the water maybe between 10 minutes behind the leader. You get some people in triathlon who grew up swimming and they're just mean swimmers.
Fish.
And you know what? I've been swimming now for just over 2.5 years. 2.5 years I've been having lessons for, because I didn't swim as a kid. And before I started triathlon, I couldn't swim. That's why I didn't do triathlon sooner in my life. So my swim will be, a few minutes behind, but I always allow for that. I'm real strong on the bike. I'll be probably up there with some of the top bike times, and my run at the moment it's going so well, and I think it'll be pretty close to some of the times I'll have there. But there's, with a triathlon, there's so many things that have to go right on the day.
Yeah.
I guess it's like you surf, right? Like it's just to get that perfect wave. It's it's not rare, but it takes a lot. Yeah.
It's a mental.
Yes,
what you're doing, it's probably the mental level is the difference. Everyone's pretty fit, aren't they? But that mental thing at the end of it must be hard.
Yeah, I do think the difference between, even myself, like in the past couple of years, the difference between the athlete I was a couple of years ago and today, it is mental. All of it's mental. Like even if you're having, or if you had a really crap swim, or if you're having a really crap bike, or something that you can't control goes wrong, it's all in the top 2 inches. And that is my new favorite saying. You just have to keep going like it's not lost. And then I've done that now a couple of times and got to the end of the race and gone, oh my God, like if I gave up or if I started to get negative, it would have just gone a completely different way. And then I have had the best race of my life. So the top 2 inches is where it's at.
Yeah, funny you say that. I listened to this guy speaking recently, and he competes in ultras and stuff. He went to this ultra, and he could run a quick marathon. Like I can't remember his time. It might have been like 2:20 or 2:30. It was pretty quick. Like he can run a normal marathon fast.
Nice.
And in this ultra he went to, he remembers giving up, and then the next day or next morning, because they must just drag on forever, those ultras, he's seen someone he knew finish, and he was way older than him and way slower than him, and his time was still shit. But he's like, that guy finished and I didn't, and there's no way in fuck he is fitter than me. There's just objectively no way in the planet, and he was way older than him.
Yeah.
And he didn't do any sort of like great time, but he finished. And then after that guy was like, nah, like I am like forcing myself. So it's interesting. And then when I listened to them speaking, it was funny. I went for a train later that day. I was just doing these 1-arm rows, and I was like, I can't row anymore. And I'm like, maybe just keep rowing. And has your hand let go of the fucking dumbbell? No, it hasn't. Just do another 5 reps. And you could just do it. Like, it is weird, that mind thing, eh? Like, you'll know better than anyone. Like, especially with endurance style, cardio-based training, I reckon it's heaps of it's a lot of it's in the mind, eh?
I think, because I had my pro card in bodybuilding, right? This is before I started at the gym with you, and I think that was actually harder than triathlon because there was like zero margin for error, and I do think that is what's setting up my triathlon journey to be what it is, because I had that, like there's, like I said, like there's just no margin. Like you're getting on stage in a bikini, everything you put in your mouth was the difference between first and second place. And so although triathlon is more time consuming, I do think bodybuilding was more of a mental game for sure.
Oh, really? More than triathlon? Yeah. Oh.
I don't know. Like I just, like if you compare having a week where you can go swim, bike and run all week, yeah, it's hard, yeah, it's tiring, yeah, you got to juggle some things, but try putting, I think it was 800 grams of chicken in the oven every morning with a bag of frozen beans, turning it on, turning it off, going for a walk, doing your cardio, coming back and having to eat it out of the same container all day, every day for like 12 months. Like bodybuilding's changed since I did it, and it's not as, like there's a lot more science out there now, and it's not as ruthless, and it's not as like, that was very inflexible what I did, but that right there is mental pain. Going swimming, biking and running all week is good. Also mental pain, but nothing like that.
Yeah. So do you think the bodybuilding set you up on a good foundation to be able to do this? Like, if you can do one hard thing, you can do another hard thing. And I guess touching on what you're kind of saying is every hard thing you actually do, if you, I guess, dilute it right down, it all comes back to what you can mentally handle, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think that. I think, honestly, I've been through a lot since bodybuilding too, like in and out of like violent relationships, one in particular. And I think like going through that and going through the process of what it took to get out of that also, I got a lot of that from bodybuilding as well. I think a lot of women in my position wouldn't have got out of it or wouldn't have continued to carry on their life and thrive and like be successful in their career like I am now. And I'm just really lucky, I think, that I had that foundation. I don't know if it's luck or what it is. I've always had this thing in me that if I'm going to do something, I just do it, and I do it well and do it with every ounce of me, which is, I don't know, maybe it's unhealthy, maybe it's not, but...
I think it's healthy. There's worse things you could be doing.
Yeah, true.
You know what's interesting about bodybuilders I've always found? Like, there's two camps of them. Like, there's ones that can apply that discipline, and probably the most OG example would be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, probably fucked up the pronunciation of that as well, but like...
You nailed it.
Oh, did I? So,
Yeah.
as you would probably know, you know who he is, and for people who don't, I'm sure half the world knows who he is, but he's a bodybuilder originally, and then he just had become a governor of California. He probably would have run for president, but he couldn't because he wasn't born in America, but he's done all sorts of stuff. He's a business person. He was a bricklayer too, did you know that? He was actually a bricklayer when he bodybuilding, and he applied that discipline in other facets, and he always did well. So there's bodybuilders that I find that's a path for them, but then I find there's the bodybuilders who only ever become gym rats and don't really apply it to anything else, which is where they're sort of one or the other. Which what's your call on them?
I think that differentiates between the categories of bodybuilding, because I feel like, oh my gosh, please no one come at me. I feel like some of the categories in bodybuilding are a lot easier than others because of maybe, for example, how lean you have to be. Some categories are not that lean.
Do you mean like bikini and things?
I wasn't going to say it.
You get your woman hating on you on here.
Oh gosh, like I love bikini. I love the look. I personally always carried too much muscle to go to be a bikini model, bikini athlete, or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, like I see some pro level bikini ladies now, and they're coming in like peeled, like so lean and jacked, you know. When I was doing it, like you could get a nice slender chick with a nice peach, and you'd diet her down for 6 weeks, and she'd be good to go. Whereas, this sounds awful, and I'm not discriminating, because it still takes time and mental stamina to get on stage, and like confidence and all this stuff. You know, getting on stage is not easy. But then I was doing like women's physique, and I got down to a ridiculous amount of body fat, and I think you have to be a lot leaner than if you were to just step on stage as a bikini model. And I'm so not down talking what bikini girls do, because I think like I would love to have been able to do that category, but I couldn't. But like, for example, I remember when I was a PT in Auckland, you know, if you ever went out, you'd go home, you'd have a Diet Coke, go home, and then put some beans in the oven and eat them. Whereas I'd go out with bikini chicks and they'd be drinking Red Bulls, and I'm like, this ain't it.
Have an espresso martini, life's good.
Yeah.
Life's great.
So I do feel like men's physique too back in the day was very beachy and like a lot more chill, but like things have significantly developed since then. So that was...
I haven't followed it. Like, what are the men up to these days? Have they got the men don't have a sort of division where you can kind of just leave a bit of weight on, do they? Or not really?
Not really, no.
That board short, I guess, which is
That's what I mean, men's physique, the board shorts one. It used to be kind of like bikini, but then like over time the categories just developed, and to be honest, that was part of the reason why I got out of bodybuilding, because for me to be competitive, like I went to Europe a couple of times to compete, and I'd always get smashed because of steroid use. And
it's prolific in the sport.
Yeah, it's the only way to be competitive, and like whatever, like I still think there's merit in using steroids. You still got to use them correctly, you still got to diet, you still got to do the things, but just it didn't align with me, and so I was like, no, I've had enough. Plus I'm like muscly as anyway, so I don't need to take any enhancing drugs.
Yeah, don't need to encourage it any further.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I think just closing on that, the discipline in the sport's been good for you in other facets of your life, so... Yeah, anyone listening, if you're not into the gym, it's good for discipline in the gym, no matter what or even if not the gym, it's some sort of sport. I think sport, you know, it gives you frameworks, it gives you discipline. If you try to get up the ladder in any sports, or whether it's bodybuilding, triathlon, anything, it's a very good like framework or skeleton you can actually use in the rest of your life.
Yes, and one last thing I'll say about this whole thing is that, like, I don't think the most talented athletes go the furthest. I do think it is the hard workers and the people that can go that extra mile mentally, like the mile extra mentally.
Yeah, either. I know what you mean.
You can be talented, but you can't, not everybody talented is going to put the work in.
No, so you have to be, if you are genetically luckily gifted and you work like fuck, you'll probably beat everybody. But a lot of the time, it's just the workhorses that win. And if you look at the great athletes like LeBron James, have you seen the other day I was looking at the top 5 or top 10 paid athletes in the world. 3 of them are like 41. It was like Lewis Hamilton, LeBron James, and Ronaldo or something. And when you look at all those 3 guys, they always got the same kind of through arrow. Like they show up an hour. They're the best people in the world, or at least in the top 3 or whatever they are. But they're showing up at trainings an hour first and leaving an hour later. And they're the best people, and they know that you got to put in. They're just putting in the most work a lot of the time as well. LeBron James probably a bit of an exception because isn't he 6 foot bloody? I don't know. He's got genetics as well. But your point rings true. I actually agree with you. It's like most of the time it's people who do the most. Talent, lucky, like God-given gifts will get you a little bit of the way, but it's the workhorsing. And you'd know being around a lot of people better than anyone.
For sure, definitely. I like to categorise myself in triathlon as a workhorse because I have like 0 talent in triathlon. Really.
I don't know if that's true, but you've got some advantages. It quite helps you.
171, but yeah, I found cycling, the cycling part of tri. I wouldn't say I find it easy, but I do take to it quite naturally, I guess you could say. So maybe it's because I've got giant thighs. I don't know.
Interesting about the swimming, you never. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. But
man,
it just shows you can pick up anything whenever.
Exactly, and I so want people to know that. Like I was the kid at school who like hid in the changing rooms, and I'd never do a length in swimming sports because I couldn't swim, and I sucked at it, and it was humiliating. Like even. Yeah, it's quite the turnaround. Like even in cross country in school, I'd like hide in the bushes and jump in on the last lap because I just sucked at running, and it sucked so bad, and I'd always come last, and it was humiliating. Maybe I'm trying to make up for that time in my life.
Lost time. I can't swim, to be fair. I can tread water. Like I can. It's weird because I can surf. Or if you throw me in the water, I won't die. But like I can tread water for quite a while. But I can't like swim with any finesse or any like. No. Yeah. I can't. I can do. I don't even know. It's a half. I don't even know. You wouldn't even call it freestyle. It's a half version of doggy paddle, comboed with. I don't want to die. I can do that, but other than that, and it was funny. My cousin I got brought up with was the man at swimming. He could do butterfly and all that shit. Like just smash it out.
Yeah. And
no.
In my first try, because I kind of just fell into triathlon. I just entered this little try thing because there was no running events on. And I remember looking to the lifeguard. It was a 50-meter swim. I looked at the lifeguard and I was like, it's either quicker for me to get to shore or I'm going to wave him down. And he ended up going up to get someone else. So I had no choice but to just like doggy paddle and like breaststroke my way into the shore. And I got off out of the swim and I ended up winning it. But I think the point is like I fully was going to quit in that swim because I couldn't swim, and then I got a swimming lesson, and then it still baffles me how you can do something you grew up thinking you could never do.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like I still, yeah. I'm not going to start though. But I'm not trying to win a triathlon. I'm not trying to get on the podium. You're trying to get on the podium.
Brent's off to swimming lessons next week.
So I know a bit of your story, but. For those who don't, where did you grow up? And I guess how was that portion of your life, and how did that sort of shape you into later wanting to do these things? Did you have parents that kind of pushed you into sport, or what were you like from 10 to a teenager? Say, let's go there.
Okay, we'll start there. Yeah, pretty basic really. Like I rode horses growing up. I competed, did eventing, and I grew up in. I was born on the North Shore, and then we moved to Whangarei when I was about 6, and then spent a fair chunk of maybe the next 8 years I lived in Whangarei, and I just rode horses and competed for Northland at Pony Club Champs, and then sort of started to sneak up the grades a little bit, but then my parents separated. and sort of, I guess, the financial side of it wasn't there anymore. So I went from that to, I kind of just jumped into working after that, to be fair. So I didn't really have a super sporty background. Like I played netball, but like real basic, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing
What was
super
the
extreme.
equestrian stuff like a family-driven thing? Is that something your mother did or father did? Or it's usually, I'm not picking on horse people here, but it's usually a family thing. And a lot of people think horse people are crazy too, but I'm making no comment on that. I don't know
I was
enough horse
just
people.
about to say that. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have mentioned horses because people think horse people are crazy. I feel like hopefully I'm the exception. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe
no,
you're the
like
rule.
mum.
Anyway.
We'll move on. Can we cut that bit out?
Yeah.
My mum rode horses as a kid, but like nothing drastic. I just always liked horses. My brother was into rally driving at the same time, like gravel rally driving, and he was quite
That's
good
cool.
and like did got scholarships and went to the UK and did the thing, and we both, I guess, were just quite competitive through nature, really. We didn't, not super sporty.
Did you play polo? Did you play polo and things as well, or no? It was more just what were you doing, jumping and stuff? I don't know. Ignorance
Yeah,
on
so
horses. I don't know much about them, but
So dressage, show jumping, cross country. Yeah,
it's when they trot.
thing.
It's like
It's when
horse
they trot.
dancing.
But like not at a great level at all, like basic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're,
So that's
they're quite a. I know this, and I'm not going to say my mate's name because he'll get in so much fucking shit. But I've got a mate, and his wife's into horses, and he said, Brent, that horse for about the last 10 years, we could have been on double the holidays. I could have had a nicer house. The amount that fucking horse costs, they're an expense. He lives in Tauranga, and I think they have to pay for the horse to be on someone's place, and then it's got to get groomed, then it's got to be fed. And my mate, I don't think he's a big fan of the horse. It's not like he loves his wife, she's got her hobby, but he said, if you ever want something that just destroys your pocket, get a wife with a horse habit.
yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's very true. But do you know what? Triathlon is not much better. Like
Really?
triathlon is crazy expensive. Like you got to get home before the postman and hide those packages because, yeah.
So I guess a lot of, if you're not a major sports in New Zealand, a lot of it's just, are you self-funding a lot of this? And is there still a big discrepancy? Like, do the guys, say a guy that was trying to do what you were doing now, would he be in the same boat? Would he be better off financially? Would he be backed better from the sport?
So to answer the first question, yes, it's all self-funded because we're just age group athletes. And saying that, like, when I went to Spain World Champs and Wollongong World Champs last year, I did the basic community fundraisers, and that helped heaps. And it was cool because there's only a couple of triathletes up here, which was, I guess, a bit of an advantage because people were supporting us to go overseas and do the thing and put Northland on the map. So that side of it was cool. Is there an advantage to being a male in doing the sport? I don't think so, not at age group level. I think, if anything, being a woman in sport these days carries a bit of weight, especially with like women's health issues, things like that, which I can touch on later if you really want to talk about that. But I'm just kind of coming into a level now. I'm just 3 years into triathlon, and I really say I've been taking it competitively for the last. I went to Spain last year, so maybe 18 months now. I've been like taking it more competitive than just having fun, and I've just partnered with Marita Bikes New Zealand, which is really exciting. That actually hasn't been announced yet on the socials, but the partnership's there, and it's not like it's a secret. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the partnership with them, and I'm just so grateful. It's not easy, to get people to see what you're doing and like see you as a person and want to have you on their team. So that's really exciting. I've got a 2026 triathlon bike coming that I'm going to be using for France, which is so exciting. And again, like crazy, like to get
To buy them would cost a lot.
yeah, lots of money. Like it depends too how far you want to go with it, but thousands. Yeah.
So what were you touching on then? You were just talking about health in regards to like being a female. You brought up something.
Yeah, so I think like women's health now in endurance sport is becoming much more recognised, which is awesome. Like you see, I don't know, you probably don't follow it much, but there's a lot of endurance runners who will stop at an aid station and breastfeed their baby and carry on going. And I have learnt...
Oh, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
It's crazy. I've learnt myself, like, we tried for a baby last year and it didn't go to plan for us. And so I ended up, having a real complicated miscarriage and was in hospital for like 10 days with like post-op complications. It was pretty nasty. And then I tried to get back into it and pretend like it didn't affect me, and I went out and I did a race and I had a really crap race, and I didn't want to admit how much that impacts your life as a female, and like the thought also of having to take 18 months off of competing was also really daunting, and I felt like it was a little bit unfair because you lose 18 months of your progress, I guess you could say. And like I found that hard to come to terms with, and I just think it's becoming more and more recognised. And I did see that Ironman had brought out like transfers of entry fees if you were to get pregnant.
Oh, really? That's
have
cool.
A pregnancy, yeah. So you can transfer if you did that, which is really cool. Like like I said, it's becoming more recognised, and it's like, the female body and the female hormones and pregnancies and like lost pregnancies, and it does impact you so much. And so to keep going and to be successful can be really hard.
Right. Oh, 100%. Hand on heart, I actually think it would be, I don't even think, I probably know, it'd be harder to be a woman than a man. And that's not just in being an athlete or in sport, it'd be in anything. It's objectively harder to be a woman in ways because you got to take time out to have children, where men can climb corporate ladders in business. We don't have to stop, all those sort of things. So it's definitely, it's not easy. And like you said, anyone who's trained weights, even at an amateur level, realizes how long it takes you to get stronger or faster or whatever it is. It drops off a hell of a lot. If a 18-month climb to get wherever you want and doing certain times, it doesn't slowly regress 18 months to go back to where you were. In 3 months, if you did nothing, that's, as you would know, it's pretty much wiped out. So it's not a very fair game.
No, even just like the monthly, like you say, the monthly cycle, like my training is scheduled around my cycle, because at one stage, actually, like all of last year, I was getting like a tendon tear, like at just about every month. And then we pinpointed it, and it was actually linked in with my cycle.
Really?
So that was really,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that was wild. I'd spend like, 2 weeks getting my running back, and then I'd have to slow down again because I'd get a little tear. And of course, like nearing different parts of the cycle, or especially when you're pregnant, your tendons get a lot looser, and they're more prone to tearing. So
really,
yeah, that was.
I didn't know that. That'd be, imagine doing your Achilles or something. That's crazy. Like that'd be
and just like fatigue. So I just have to say to my coach, look, I have to back off, or it's in my calendar anyway, my menstrual cycle. So he'll be like, oh yeah, like if my stats are lower, it is what it is. You can't do anything about it. Can't freak out about it. And then once you're on the other side of it, or wherever people struggle, everyone's different. Then you're away again. Your stats start climbing again. But yeah, it is a lot.
So would you cycle training around your cycle to some degree? Like say if you had a component of heavy lifting, you would try to like push that out, and you maybe do a lighter week. If it come to, let's do it in weights, for example, you could do it in anything. Would you try to have a week where you did lighter reps, more sets, so to speak, if we're talking weights? Same sort of thing with cycling. Would you try to like ease off and have a bit, or what would you do around that? How would you mitigate that?
I think you'd still set the targets for what you're wanting to achieve, but just keep in the back of your mind that like fatigue is pretty crazy for some people around that time of the month. So yeah, you would definitely not be trying to lift as heavy, because it's unlikely you're going to get a PB in that week, or like keep the exercises low impact if you're like a CrossFitter or an endurance athlete, because you're more prone to get an injury around that time too. And just like prioritizing sleep over training. If you've had a crap sleep, better off just to try and get a better sleep. Or if you're really shattered that day, better off not to train. But everyone's got a different opinion on it. But I do think it's worth taking a step back during that time of the month, and then just, it is what it is, and just going hard when you can.
Is there any supplementation you can take to kind of mitigate that for a week? I'm guessing not fully, otherwise everyone would do it. But do you do anything like nutrition-wise or not really? Just wait it out, sleep more.
Yeah.
Try not to kill people.
And try not to kill people. I do take I can't remember what it's called. I do have a prescription that I take from the doctors to help with PMF symptoms, but I can't bloody remember what it's called now. I have to come back to that one. But yeah,
That's all right. It's interesting, yeah. So you can take something that sort of, it wouldn't. Is it is it noticeable?
It is slightly noticeable. I feel like slightly more calmer. I think it's vitamin. Is it vitamin B? I can't quite remember, but it does really help. Right. So look into it. Definitely worth looking into. I didn't believe it was a thing, and then it's definitely a thing.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So when you got brought up, you were into equestrian a bit, you played a bit of netball. When was the turning point, I guess, when you really thought, I'm going to start bodybuilding? Or when you started taking these goals of yours really seriously? Like you obviously took that seriously, you're taking this seriously. What age were you, and when and why did you do that?
So I started working after my parents separated. I left school real early, left school at 14, maybe even 13, can't remember. The school was chasing my parents, I guess you should say, but I just wasn't going back. So I never went back, and then started working. I started riding racehorses for a career, and then I got found out I had a degenerative fracture in my back called a spondylolisthesis. It's where the little side bits on your vertebrae crack and they rotate forward. So I've got a couple of those, and just being in that race, like the jockey position, I guess you could say, just ruined my back over time. Yeah. So I qualified as a PT in 2011. I would have been 21, and then the best way for me to learn is by doing, and everybody at the time was bodybuilding, like at PT school. So I just got into it, and I think I must have won my first competition, and then just went from there. Yeah.
Oh, that's so, yeah. Well, you did it. Yeah, you're into it pretty much straight away, weren't you?
Yeah. Just got into it and kept going, and honestly I think I got stuck in bodybuilding a little bit because of like disordered eating and stuff. Like I was too scared to have an off season, so I ended up getting stuck in it for probably 2 years. I dieted non-stop, went overseas, did the things, went to Europe, went to Spain, went to Vegas, did really well in all those, and then finally came down and had an off season. And yeah, because again, like during that time I didn't get a period during that time I was bodybuilding either, so that kind of stuffed up my cycle a bit.
Is that because you're so lean?
Yeah, so much stress on the body and just not eating, and yeah. So that's the complete, like, triathlon's polar opposite. You can't stop eating, like you can never eat enough.
Yeah, interesting. So does your body just naturally stops because you're so lean? It stops the cycle itself?
Yeah, it stops the cycle, and it can be stress too, stress related, definitely. The stress of like, your body's kind of constantly in survival mode.
I actually read something, this was a long time ago, and it's how young women now are getting their periods so young, and it's actually to do with just biology, and like, because we're well fed these days, as far as our body's concerned, it's like, oh, you've got excess food and whatever, you can produce a baby now even though you're 13, or our body doesn't care how old we are.
Yeah.
So the same thing, I guess, the antithesis of that is like, if you're running your body so lean, it probably thinks you're nearly dying or you're fucked. So it's not going to give, it's strange. It's interesting.
I can't comment on the science and so why it happens. I just know that it happens when you get really lean and when you're hungry and when you're cold, and you're kind of running at a deficit for such a long time. It doesn't just stuff your menstrual cycle, it stuffs everything, your blood, your iron.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Everything that goes with it, yeah.
I think I'm going to know the answer to this question I'm about to ask with you, but so what's something hard you've done in your life that's made your life easier later on?
Oh my gosh, what's something I've done?
So I'll give you an example. Like, say if I've asked someone and they said, look, I started saving money when I was younger, and when I got older, that compounded and it was great. Or it could be getting into bodybuilding gave me the discipline that I could then, as I got older, I could turn that to anything in life because other things didn't seem so hard. I might have stole your answer there.
There's a couple. There's bodybuilding, of course. That would definitely be one of the main things. I remember getting off stage after my first show and just like bawling my eyes out and falling into my mum's arms and being like, I'm never doing that ever again, because it was so hard to get there, But then I think once you do the hard thing, you're like, oh, okay, I can do it again, or I can do this next hard thing. So definitely bodybuilding, definitely set the precedent of like what I knew I was capable of. And then I think the second hard thing would be coming back from being in a violent relationship. Just when you're in that relationship, you lose complete touch of who you are, what you think you're capable of, what your values are, what you think you're worth. And it's not something I talk about very often because, you know, no one wants to hear a sob story, but...
Sometimes people do, because someone could be listening who's in the middle of that episode of their life, so they probably do. Some people might actually, so... Yeah,
like, you know, I lost a lot of friends during that time of my life too. And it was because once you get stuck in something like that, like they say the average amount of times it takes to leave a violent relationship is 7 times. And like, yeah, it would have at least been 7 times that I tried to get out of that. And then once I got out, I didn't know which was up and down. Like I couldn't maintain a job at the time. I didn't have the confidence to do anything. I know it sounds ridiculous, but like really, yeah, I don't know if you've heard many stories about like battered woman syndrome, but I think coming back from that was massive. Like I just remember overcoming these things, you know, one step at a time, like making new friends and like getting a job. Actually, you know what? My first job after all of that scenario was working at the gym with you.
Oh, I know that actually, but yeah.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
yeah. And I just built back one step at a time from there. And I think probably bodybuilding had a lot to do with that. And now I've got a really good job. I'm paid really well. So there's a couple of things in there, bodybuilding and just getting into a really bad situation and getting out of it.
I think a lot of people get, it's a hard one to touch on that subject, but yeah, people wonder why you don't just walk out the door. But I actually got brought up from my grandparents, and he got better as we got older, and my nan left for a while, but my granddad he wasn't the best at those sort of things either, and my grandmother stuck around a long time. And women can get trapped for a multitude of reasons. There's kids involved, there's this involved, and then they can be psychologically fucked and think they're not. Yeah, you know more than me. You know what I'm trying to say.
Like, honestly, one day when I'm allowed to, I will write a book and and I'll mention this podcast. And it will say all the things that I can't really say. But you can go to the depths of despair in times like that. And people were just like, why don't you just leave? And even now people are like, oh, how did you let that happen? And it's like you get so psychologically dependent on that person because you think you're worth nothing and you can't achieve anything without them.
And that's the narrative they tell you constantly, you know, you're not this, you're not that. Women get their money controlled, like all sorts of stuff. Like if someone's possessive and kind of violent and whatever, and let's be honest, like a woman as strong and fit as you can, if that man is half in the same shape, you are not overpowering him, you know?
That's correct.
You know, like physically, you know, and then, it's not even that. It's just the psychological games. It's the, I don't really know where to go with that, but you know what I'm saying.
I do know what you're saying. Like, we'll maybe do another podcast in a few years' time when I can speak more on it. But
and you think of people think, how can't you just walk away? Or like, there's people who are like masters at it, cult leaders, people. No one's with cult leaders even. Generally, those people can just walk out the front of that farm gate, but they don't. They hand over their FPOS cards, they hand over their life, they hand over their wives, they hand over. Some of those cult leaders get the people in there to commit murders. It's crazy what you can do if you psychologically fuck people, eh? So it's a bad thing, and you probably don't understand unless you've ever been in it. I haven't been in it as a woman, but I've seen it from the outside a bit growing up. So it's not a good thing, you know.
I think it looks very chaotic, and it looks very dramatic, and it looks very much like the woman is potentially enjoying the chaos,
drama.
But you learn to become addicted to it, and you learn to, like, you don't know what a normal relationship is like, and so if there's no drama, it's like weird, you know, like being like repeatedly cheated on, but like you still stay because you think you're nothing without that person, or like being coerced into having a child and then being coerced into getting rid of that child, like 3 times in a space of 2 years, you know? But how can you walk away from that? How do you have the strength to do anything after going through like that and going through that? You know, there's certainly no way I could have held down a job during that time of my life. I had no money, I had nothing when I left, and now I've definitely built back to a much stronger position.
And people who control people, to be frank, they generally try to isolate people too. They don't want you to have friends, they don't want you to have this and that, and then it's just all that control game stuff, eh? So what's something, from someone who's been in it, what's something they should do? You've been in the situation.
You know what? I
haven't.
think the turning point for me was studying. What did I study? I studied a certificate in mental health, I think, and addiction, and in that was outlining like what type of behaviour is not okay. And like when you study the behaviour and you're thinking, like I experienced that, you think like people are teaching this shit, so they're teaching what is not okay, and here I am living what is not okay. So that was probably the turning point for me. What else helped me out of that? Maybe I also studied law, which just gave me an insight on what, again, not what was wrong from right, but like what power I could have if I did try to seek help.
And then when you look at it from the outside now, when you look back at it, you probably think, what was I doing? But when you're in it, it's a different story, eh?
100% a different story. You cannot see it, man. Like, you cannot see it. Like I said, I lost friends because they just got sick of me going to them and like having to cry about the next thing that happened. They're like, we can't help you anymore. You won't leave. And that's kind of the only option I had left, was to leave. Like, yeah, man. And when you see your friend go through something like that, and then, just you end up going insane yourself, I think, watching from the outside. I remember going to the police once after having my like car door kicked in and like, you know, threatened to have a hiding and all that sort of stuff. And I think like that one time I did react after several years of that type of behaviour. And I remember the cop saying to me, she was like, he is starting to make you crazy. You need to get out, or you need to sort it out. And so I just remember that was a turning point for me too, because I was like, I know this isn't my fault, but it was just still happening no matter, I didn't have any control over it, you know?
Yeah.
And then like you say, like you start to become this person who doesn't know any different, doesn't know any better, and I'm just like, I cannot tell you what a contrast my life was back then in comparison to now. It's just wild.
It's crazy. Oh well, we'll move on from that. So from someone who competes a lot, health is obviously pretty important to you. Mm-hmm. What's a couple of good tips? We'll go on nutrition because you're someone who's tracked macros. If you just had to give a couple of bits of advice, what would it be around training and what would it be around nutrition, just for everyday normal people, which probably packs the biggest punch? And let's do it on a female side, because you are a female, and what are a couple of things you think would just help everyday people?
I think getting regular blood tests done is a good idea. Yeah, I think that's handy. I've been doing that a lot over the past few years, and I just had one recently actually, and a few things came back low. So especially like magnesium came back in low, and I've been having loads of cramps and fatigue. I mean, fatigue's normal when you're an endurance athlete, but yeah, having my magnesium come back low was real insight, because I like take magnesium every day anyway. So I need to up my dose of that's for sure. My iron's always kind of borderline. I've got this other one that comes back low as well, alkaline phosphate. I'm still trying to like tie the dots together, but I think it could lead to some sort of autoimmune disease. So I need to like get on top of that.
Do they test you for sanity? Does that come back okay? Or?
No, I didn't get that one. Not this time.
Oh, okay, just checking. And what about a training tip? Don't give us some bro lifting thing either. Well, you can do if you want, but I think you're past the bro lifting. But
honestly, I don't really lift anymore. I really don't. So training tip would just be to, if the session is going really shit, just finish it as best you can anyway. Don't give up at the session, because I think, like we were talking about before, like you can so easily just give up, and it would.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you push through, it can be your best session you've ever had.
Yeah. I listened to someone speaking a while ago. I can't remember who it was, and he was talking about a champion boxer, and he had the champion boxer he was interviewing, And he was saying in sparring once this champion boxer got hit and he fell right out the ring and he was nearly half knocked out and he got back up in there to keep sparring. And they were like, why did you get back up in there? And he's like, because if I didn't, the demons would get in. And like what he meant was like, if you give up once, the next time you go to do the thing, you'll just, I'll cut training 10 minutes short. I'll just do this. So he was basically saying, if I give up when it gets to a champion round, that's who decide, that it's who's mentally tough wins that last round, that 12th round. And it was real interesting. It's what you're saying. You're better off just forcing your way through it. Otherwise, you shortcut yourself once. You're gonna keep doing that, aren't you?
Yes. It's so easy to do. What I used to do frequently, like a mistake I used to make during my last year of triathlon training, was I wouldn't do the cool down of my run or my swim. But what I didn't realize what it was teaching me was to teach me to recover, teach my heart rate to recover, and my body, I guess, to recover under pressure and to recover quickly. Whereas if you just stop at, like, say, the end of a tempo run or the end of a tempo swim, all you're going to do is stop and your body's going to go, when you're running hard, it's just going to stop in a triathlon too. So, and then again, like, you miss one session, you miss the next session, and it just spirals from there. Once you cop out once, it's so easy to do it again. Or you can be like, for example, right now I've got my blood tests, they come back and they're all crazy and I'm like, I'm fatigued, so I'm going to run slow today. It's so just like keeping the top 2 inches clean, healthy, and do whatever you got to do, whether it's like, focus on your mental health outside of training as well. Don't just use training to fix your mental health. You got to go into your sessions with good mental health and good focus and positive, and a positive outlook. Otherwise, you're just going to go in like carrying the shit you've carried from work or carrying from the week, or 7 years of a court battle.
7 years. One interesting thing. I wear a HRV now. They are no sponsor. I'm not saying they're the great, but I use I use a Whoop, and I track my sleeping, my HRV mainly. That's what I mainly care about. But what's interesting is I never used to track my sleep or anything. Now I do, and sometimes I wake up, it'll say you're on a yellow recovery or red recovery, and I'm like, if I wasn't wearing this thing, I would have never fucking known. And I would have just went to the gym or whatever I was doing anyway. And then this tracker it's great because what it's done, the primary thing it's made me a hell of a lot better at is getting enough sleep. I still don't get enough, but way more than I used to, because it's like you're in sleep debt. You're doing this, or whether you got an Apple Watch or you probably wear some sort of variation. But equally, like gives you an excuse to get out of stuff, because like back in the day I wouldn't have known, I might have slept 6 hours and might have went for 4 handles with my mate the night before. I was in that gym, didn't care. But so as great as they are, you still got to even sometimes I'm like, it'll tell me my recovery's not great and I'm like, well, you're going to do that fucking thing anyway, Brent.
Do the damn thing. Yes. Do you know what? That's something I've definitely learnt this prep too, is not to focus so much on heart rate zones, or because my heart rate, I think my heart might be a little smaller than usual athletes, because my heart rate is usually a lot higher than most other women athletes.
Yeah.
So what I've been noticing is I'll go into a run and I'm warming up, and my heart rate's like in a zone where I shouldn't be warming up. Yeah. But I've just gone, no, fuck it. I'll just go up how I feel. And generally it's fine. Like sometimes I'll look down and it'll be at like 180 beats and I'm in like a zone 3 or maybe a late zone 2, which isn't that hard. But if you just forget about it and just do it anyway, you'd end up having a better session. And it's like you hear a lot of people these days talking about just going for a nude run or go for a nude swim and like not have stats, just do it for the love of it. Like the stats are important, but like you say, you can end up being like, oh shit, I've only had 5 hours sleep, I'm going to train so crap today.
Oh, and you can be a stat junkie too. Like if you're going, I'll go for a hike and then I'll be like, so I went up Pap Hills this morning and I felt like doing 10,000 steps and I got to the bottom and it was like 8,300 and I'm like, nope, you need to walk back around the bottom of here. And I'm like, well, you're not actually just enjoying the walk, fuckhead. You're just like, you're tracking everything. Like, and I'm like, I'm not even competing for anything. I'm just competing with my stupid self. So
not everything has to be the mile extra, Brent.
No, I know. And then I won't win that with metrics. Like, my HRV is very low. It's something I've been trying to. Do you track your HRV?
No. I try not to get too into it.
I go to a sauna and like this cold pool and this setup here in the mount, couple of times a week, and I met a woman in there. You'd probably know who she is. I can't remember her name. She's young. She'd be like 23 or 4. She's representing New Zealand in triathlon. She had a Whoop on, and I was like, what's your HRV? And she was like 200. And I was like, what the fuck? So, yeah, mine's usually like...
You can't remember her name?
What's that?
You can't remember her name?
Can't remember her name. Blonde, probably 23 or 4, in there with her mother. Yeah, I've seen her mum in there a couple of times. Don't know, but her metrics were like, I was just like, we talked about, and then I was like, I've had enough of this conversation. her resting heart rate was like 30 or something. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Yours would be pretty good too, wouldn't it?
Mine's not like that. Like I said, I think my heart is smaller than usual. I need to get that checked, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, my resting heart rate, to be honest, I don't really wear my watch at night times either because it irritates me, like it irritates my skin. But it would be like maybe 48, 45.
Yeah, I think mine's higher than that, obviously. But yeah, when she said it was 30, I was just like, you're fucking joking me. And her HRV was 200.
Low. Yeah,
HRV, she even said, even by her standards and people she hangs out with, she has a very, very high HRV, one of the highest HRVs she's seen. I was like, that's just bonkers. And I asked her, have you just been like pretty much a freak your whole life? Like always healthy, always, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy,
One of those naturally, I don't want to say gifted because I don't want to sound like I'm remorseful. But yeah, just one of those people. It's cool.
So moving on from health, we're going to talk about finances. It can be a bit of advice of what not to do.
Like growing up thinking that taking a loan was normal. Sorry, there's some kids running past. That probably screwed me in my younger age too. Because I was like, oh, I can just go get a car and put it on tick. Like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the whole like getting in the wrong relationship and going into that with debt and then not being able to work, you know.
Then it snowballs.
Yeah, it snowballs big time. Yeah, I've come out of some really nasty financial situations, but definitely KiwiSaver because my parents encouraged me away from KiwiSaver when I was younger too.
Random. Yeah, interesting. They might have just been doing what they thought was best. From when you were 20 to now, and what do you focus on these days to make you happy compared to what you would have when you were 20?
I am 100% happier now than I've ever been in my life. I think probably because I went through so much hardship and I grew from it. And, you know, they say a lot of people go through their life without facing their demons and, you know, they take it to the grave and they don't change old habits and they don't try to better themselves. So I think like just all of the therapy I've been through, all of the study I've done, all of the knowledge I've obtained, all of the giving back to the community and, you know, overcoming fears and like trying new things you thought you could never do. And that I feel like I've just really grown as a person in comparison to my 20s. I feel like I really didn't know who I was back then. And I didn't face a lot of demons, I guess you could say, in my 20s. And I just ran from them, probably through personal training, through bodybuilding, and then I feel like I don't know if I'll ever be happier than I am now in my life, which is great. Pretty cool.
Well, as you get older, you'd want to hope you kind of get wiser because getting older is a good teacher, but it's not a very good beautician. So you want to be getting wiser at least, if you know what I mean.
You know, I think having a child most certainly changed my life for the better. I think I needed that. I think I was quite selfish when I was younger.
You're a bodybuilder. You're in the most fucked up beauty pageant there is, so like, of course.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but having a kid definitely was probably the turning point for me.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So if you had to give your younger self a piece of advice, if you had to give that 20-year-old you a bit of advice now, what would it be? One thing. It could even be watch the men. You know, whatever, it could be whatever.
What did you say?
Watch what man you end up with. It could be anything. If you had to zoom back to 20-year-old you.
Oh man, it would have just been like, because when I left school I didn't know what I wanted to do. It would have just been like knuckle down and just pick something. You know, I was so scared of picking the wrong thing, and so I ended up picking nothing for years.
It's easier said than done though.
Yeah, definitely that, and just fuck what anyone else thinks and just do what you think you can do because you're the only person that can stop you from doing it.
Yeah, and do it like, Because you can do a lot. Like, look what you've done with like bodybuilding. Look what you're doing now. Like, yeah, it is hard though. I was reading a book called The Paradox of Choice. Like I was half reading it at the moment, but I've read it before. But it's interesting. Like choice is actually really hard for us now, and it was rewinding a long time ago, and it was rewinding back like in the 50s or 60s. And you know how we have a lot of choice now, and that's great, but it's also hard. He was saying like if you think of people in the 50s or 60s, if your parents knew someone who could get you a job, it was just take that job or nothing, or you might have no job. It's an interesting book. He's like, because he's older, and this book might have got wrote in the 90s or something anyway. He was like, when he was young and went into a shop to buy jeans, there was only blue Levi's with one cut for a guy. There was nothing else. Like they didn't even have to like, you know how we kind of anguish over things and think, fuck, we could become this or that, or back then it was just take it or leave it. That's your thing, like, you know. So we live in a world with a lot, but in a way that kind of makes it harder for us sometimes, which is kind of some weird paradox, you know.
I looked at, I was scrolling Instagram as you do, I think it was this morning or last night, and it was like these paradoxes of life. Like I saw this one slide and it was like this chick going on her OE to go and like find herself, and then the other side of it was somebody living in a really poor country being like, oh, can you go traveling? Like they didn't even know what traveling was. Yeah. And I just, you know, there's two very contrasting views on life out there, and I still don't really know which one is the better one.
I think at some point, I personally think you need to pick paths and get on them. And even if they're wrong, at least you did something. Because if you get caught in inertia doing nothing, that's bad. That's real unhealthy too. You know? And even if you do the wrong thing and then you pivot, at least you knew it was the wrong thing and said, I tried that, it sucked, I'm doing this now.
Yeah, and just do it. Just don't sit back and be like, oh, I'm not sure, or like half-ass do it. You know, if you're going to do something, do it properly.
Commit. Don't let the demons in. Get it fucking done, basically.
Yeah.
What's one question you wish someone asked you, but no one ever has?
Oh my God, that's such an interesting question.
It's my closing question.
God, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't have a specific question, but I do want to be able to tell my story one day about all the shit that I went through, you know, in the previous relationship, because I feel like that would teach people a lot of things. But yeah, I think it's that. I do think it's that. I've been silenced for a long time, and it is what it is. You know, you just got to be careful about these things. But I do think there is a lot to be learned off going through that type of thing.
Yeah, pressure makes diamonds.
Pressure makes diamonds.
I was about to say what's next for you and where can people find you, and also where can people find your sponsors, because I'll put them in the bottom of it as well. But yeah, do a shout out to both your sponsors now. You've done.
Cool.
What was the cycles called? Forgive me, I forgot them.
Marita Bikes. Yeah. And then also so that partnership's awesome. Can't wait to get on board with them and get that going. Looking forward to getting my bike, and looking forward to taking it to World Champs and showcasing it over there. And also I've just partnered with Solution. They are a custom shin splint brace. It's real cool. It's a brace that's got little knobbles, and they pressure point the parts of your calves that make your calves tight, and so they really help with shin splints. I've struggled with shin splints for the last 6 years.
So is this for running specifically, or you can wear them cycling, or?
So you wear them before and after training. They're honestly amazing. So when I first got one, I did the knee to wall stretch. I don't know if you've heard of that. You put your foot out from the wall and see how you keep your heel flat and you touch the knee on the wall. So I did that stretch, and then I put the brace on for an hour, and I got another 3 centimeters out of it after just wearing the brace for an hour while I was sitting at work. So that shin splint brace for me, I think, is going to be a game changer, because I've had a problem with a shin splint now for like 6 years on and off. I've just got to manage it. Solution it's called. So really looking forward to working with them too.
At the end of this, before I put this episode up, you can email me the links, and I'll put them underneath. And with your running, I've never been a great runner, but have you got better at running, or like, because I know a lot of Europeans, we heel strike, which is half our problem, isn't it?
Yeah. So I have learned a lot about running, and actually a lot of your running form can contribute to injuries like shin splints as well. So like before I started this triathlon journey, I liked running. I really enjoyed running, but I was no good at it. Like
Yeah.
I'm running the Gold Coast Half Marathon next weekend, and I'm hoping like say 3 years ago, I'd have been running that in like 2.5 hours. This time I'm hoping, and I hate saying like goals like this out loud, but I'd really love to be in under an hour 40. So we're talking like almost an hour off
Yeah,
a
crazy.
half marathon time over a period of 3 years.
Yeah, crazy.
And yes, heel striking. I don't know, everyone's different, but I definitely don't heel strike anymore. Toe strike or forefoot
It's
strike.
hard
is
work
way
running to
quicker.
the front of your foot though. Like if you're not used to it, it's just calf heavy, eh?
Yeah, you do get used to it pretty quickly. Once you can see the gains, you're like, you'd never go back, you know?
Really? Do you get used to it and then it kind of, you never go, yeah, interesting, yeah.
Yeah. But of course, I guess back then too, like when I was running 2.5 hour half marathons, there were no like carbon like super shoes or anything back then either. Well, maybe there were, I just didn't know about them. But now with carbon plated shoes, my pace is a lot faster as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Last question, are you going to be like a mini David Goggins? Is that your future?
Is that my future? I don't think I could ever compare to somebody like that because like I feel like the thought of running more than, well, I think once I've run 60 Ks and that was like ample, you know, like my hips would be like no bueno. So I'm sorry, no David Goggins from me.
Oh, he's just funny. I rate that guy. He's just funny. Like,
No, like I love his mentality, and I just,
Crazy.
you know, sometimes you just gotta be a bit like that rather than mamby-pamby around, and I think it takes a fine balance of both to be a world-class athlete.
Okay, so those are the sponsors out the way. What's the main thing on the card for you this year? Would be going to France and competing, obviously.
Yeah, we'll be going to France. So I've got Gold Coast Half Marathon next weekend, which I'm kind of keeping under wraps because I didn't want to put any pressure on myself, which has been awesome to get my running speed up because I've definitely seen a change even in just like a 4-week running block. And then France will be in September. Pop over there, go World Champs, and then come back and maybe try and reclaim my title at the Cycle Taupo cycling event. I won the 100k there last year.
Oh, sure.
So I'll either jump back into the 100k or I will maybe do the Enduro and raise some money for Women's Refuge maybe, because when you do the Enduro race you can fundraise.
Oh,
for
well,
charity.
give me a shout out anyway. We could sponsor something from real estate and yeah.
Oh yeah, epic,
Yeah.
definitely. Let's do that.
Awesome. Well, I think we will wrap that up. Thanks heaps for coming on here, and I'll be talking to you soon once you win that gold medal. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, I'll come back on.
Get on that podium.